Welcome back to the ranking of every single anime game, a series where we rank every single anime game. Our next series is the Saint Seiya series. Saint Seiya is a Japanese manga series created by Masami Kuromada. I probably butchered that so hard. The series was serialized in Shonen Jump from 1986 and 1990. Now, unlike Astro Boy, which fell off, Saint Seiya is actually still fairly popular in more international places, like I said in the last video. Now, some people might say that shows like Dragon Ball are overdone for having multiple series, like, again, an example being Dragon Ball, with it having, if I recall correctly, 4 series, Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT, and Dragon Ball Super, not including Dragon Ball Kai, which is just a revamp of Dragon Ball Z, which all adds up to around 5 series. Now, Saint Seiya, how about 7? Saint Seiya has 7 series, 6 movies, which is actually kind of low compared to Dragon Ball, but that's not funny. 5 manga series, multiple novels. It's kind of crazy. Now, I actually have gotten into Saint Seiya, and before actually continuing, I will say that I would recommend Saint Seiya and also Astro Boy. Both are still fairly good. Like, I think both of these still hold up today. So it definitely shows that Saint Seiya is still, to this day, a successful series, unlike, that guy over there. What we don't talk about. And as of every popular anime series comes games. We have a couple of games here that we're going to be playing today. Will Saint Seiya be able to take the throne of Astro Boy being the best game so far? Or will it just be ass? Like last night. Our first game is Saint Seiya the Hades, released in international places first actually. Europe and Australia getting the game in September 29, 2006, and Japan in February 1st. Now, the US doesn't really get lucky with getting Saint Seiya games. They just didn't get any Saint games at all. Now, the game is actually a sequel to Saint Seiya the Sanctuary, which released in April 7, 2005 in Japan, June 30, 2005 in Europe, which makes sense as a lot of models and the backgrounds are reused from that game. The combat system, it works. It works. It's better than nothing. Alright? We could be on Astro Boy and the PSP. The models in the backgrounds, despite being reused, do look a bit better, but they're just kind of lazy as they're just kind of like glossed up. They're kind of like fucking Barbie dolls or some shit. They adapted the Hades part of the story, which I can't really judge, but from what I played along with reviews, people seem to have find it enjoyable. And, hey, if it's enjoyable, it's enjoyable, So there are definite problems. The controls are very janky. Again, the models look kind of yucky. But for what it is, it's fine. Nothing crazy. It's a C-tier game, really. Again, nothing insane. A pretty solid game. I wouldn't really go back to it, but if it was on, I would probably play it for maybe 5 minutes. Yeah, it's alright. I mean, we already started, and it's already better than the first 2 Astro Boy games, so it's looking pretty good so far. We'll have to see what happens next. Our next game is Saint Seiya Sanctuary Battle, released in November 23rd, 2011 in Japan, and the PAL released in 2012. The game is a game that exists as a whole. That's all I can give you. The game adapts the first season / manga of the franchise, in which Seiya and his friends have the task of fighting 12 gold saints to save Sayori Kido from dying. Now again, I can't say how accurate this is, but the story is alright. Really from what I played. Now, let's get into the positives. The game looks pretty alright. It might be because of my emulator, but the graphics look pretty good, Again, it's probably because my emulator making it look better, but even looking at PS3 gameplay doesn't seem that bad. The models aren't awful either. The controls are a bit janky, but the combat system definitely makes it feel at least a little bit better. You know, while the combat system is not the greatest, it's definitely a bit better. Not like, you know, it gave it an entertaining feel, in a sense. The OST is pretty solid, and the amount of characters you use is also pretty cool. Especially for characters that match with like how the game plays and all that, which we'll get into later. The bosses can be okay. I mean, the bosses were fine. I thought they were pretty interesting, and I kind of liked the way they like operated to an extent. The mini bosses I didn't really like much, but the main bosses were pretty okay, and they had pretty easy to figure out mechanics. There's stuff like mission mode, which gives you a little bit of replayability. And leveling up your characters, so I guess that's nice. Now on to negatives.
Oh my god,
The fights that aren't the main bosses feel really repetitive, and the controls are again really janky. Now the gameplay is more of a beat 'em up, similar to Dynasty Warriors, where you like go through multiple amounts of enemies. And while this game mode isn't exactly the worst, it's just not for me. Like, look, it's just fucking boring. Like, you have like this sense of thrill like you have for like 2 minutes, then you realize the game is shit and you throw away the game. Now there are characters, as I said before, that match this like playstyle, and then there are characters that just play like shit and you just don't want to play. What more do you? Along with the stages length, like if the stages are shorter, then maybe I would tolerate them, but they're not. They're solidly long. So yeah, the game is alright, but the negatives way outweigh the positives. It's a C tier. It's like, I don't want to put it in D tier because there are a good amount of like positives with this game, and there are a lot of like unlockables and collectibles. Not collectors, what the fuck? And on top of that, the bosses were also kind of fun for a little bit. So I mean, I want to put in C tier, as this game is just doing pretty solid in the middle. Now, this is funny because we've gone back to back with like how the PSP games have been absolute trash. This game isn't as bad as Astro Boy on the PSP, but it's definitely really bad. The next game is Saint Seiya Omega Ultimate Cosmo, released on the PSP in November 29th, 2012. Now, I'm gonna be upfront with y'all, this game is just non-existent. I could not find anything on this game. I'm sure it was some kind of fever dream, because this game doesn't exist at all. Low key, this game is just not real. No build up to release. There were a couple of trailers I found, but that's about it. No info on how the game works. Hell, even the Saint Seiya wiki, the like main source of Saint Seiya material, doesn't know what this game is. They just kind of threw their hands up in the air. We're like, okay, well, we can't figure out anything about this game. Who wants coffee? So I did try researching the game for a while, and you know, that's what I found. Again, it's not much, but something. Saint Seiya Omega Ultimate Cosmo, after its release, was delisted. While the date is unknown, it should be around 2015 to 2017, potentially. While the reasoning is unknown, it might have been delisted due to a lot of licensing issues with Saint Seiya, and that has been a very big problem in Saint Seiya's history, but that's really all I know about the game. The game is fairly simple to understand. Being in adaptation of Saint Seiya Omega, Poseidon comes back and wants to fight all the Gold Saints in some Goku type beat. There's an arcade mode, a versus mode, a replay mode where you can watch your battles, gallery, and a cutscene mode where you can watch cutscenes and stuff. Now, one thing I will say about all Saint Seiya games so far, that the presentation is just super nice, like the galaxy background and everything. All of them have done a really good job of like setting you in like the Saint Seiya universe, and I think that's really cool. Now, the gameplay. It's Okay, come on guys, let's not beat around the bush. This game is ass. This game fucking sucks. Alright, no, this game is shit. The combat system is really, really bad, and couple that with the jank controls, it's just not fun. Apart from the cinematic supers, which kind of look cool, the animations look really bad as well. I mean, the cutscenes are good. I think they're original cutscenes, I'm not sure, probably not. There are cool things like replay mode and gallery, but most of the Saint Seiya games so far have had those modes, so it doesn't really even matter. Overall, this is a D tier game. Definitely the best in D tier though, because while it was bad, Astro Boy was way worse. What more do you want from me? Trust me, because at the very least, it had a nice presentation, it had a lot of other modes and shit. Astro Boy just kind of sucks. Now, this is actually the first game to come to the US, or North America specifically. Next up is Saint Seiya Brave Soldiers, released on October 17th in Japan and November as an international release, being the first Saint Seiya game to be released in North America. There are a couple modes. We have Saint Chronicle, the story mode, free battle, online battle, and orb. Yep, just orb. Jokes aside, orb is a level up system where you can strengthen your characters and such, which I don't know why you would call it orb. Maybe it's the Saint Seiya reference or something, I'm not sure. Now, onto the size of the roster. The roster is huge. Like, it's probably the biggest one so far. That being 50 characters or over 100 skins, all with like different super attacks and stuff. And that's not even including the characters. Like, the skins themselves also have different super attacks, which is also a really cool thing. Now onto the gameplay. The gameplay is actually pretty good. It's more of a Stormish type of gameplay. You play an arena fighter with a pretty solid combat system. Definitely not like amazing or anything, but it's definitely solid, and you can make some pretty cool combos. There are some problems with the gameplay. For example, when I tried recovering, like low key, if you don't press it as soon as you fall on the ground, you just don't recover. Most of the characters do feel fun. You do have like those one-off characters that feel kind of annoying to play, but you know, hey. They still have pretty cool combos and interesting moves and stuff. So, oh yeah, and once like you go throughout the game and like you do super attacks and stuff, you can actually watch them like in like this mode. It's actually kind of cool. Now onto Saint Chronicle. Saint Chronicle goes to 3 main arcs: Chapter Sanctuary, Chapter Poseidon, and Chapter Hades, telling the story through images and renders. Now, I don't hate images and renders. I think they're kind of cool, especially when they're animated. Kind of like in Naruto Ultimate Ninja Impact, which, hey, it's on the list, we'll talk about. They don't do that much here though, so it kind of like ruins its like whole vibe, but I still kind of like it. I think it's kind of cool. Overall, it's actually a pretty fun game. While, yes, I do understand there were some problems, I definitely had a lot of fun compared to the other Saint Seiya games. I definitely will give it an A tier. A super fun time we'll return to again. Next up is Saint Seiya Soldier Soul, an updated version of Brave Soldiers with better graphics, more combos, and changes to the combat system, increasing speed of the game, and fixing and changing a lot of the issues I actually have with the game, along with giving the game 3D animated cutscenes, new modes, etc. Now, honestly, this is a major improvement, like low-key. Like, most of the issues I had with the first game literally got changed here. It's insane. It's like Xenoverse and Xenoverse 2, except if Xenoverse was good. Oh, that's gonna be. Uh-oh. We'll get to that when we get to that. So yeah, overall this game is really fun. I give it an S tier, definitely. This game deserves it. It's super good. And again, while the previous game is an A tier, I will say it's like high A, and the best thing in A tier so far. So Saint Seiya Soldier Soul took the slot as the best anime game of all time so far. With that, the Saint Seiya games are finished. Honestly, not that bad, really. The worst game on the list was probably Omega Ultimate Class 1, even then. It still had some positives, unlike Astro Boy on the PSP. So really, Saint Seiya not only has the best anime game slot of all time, but also taking the series with the best games? I don't know how to word it, I'm a fucking idiot. What I mean is like, the series that has the best games, like, in terms of a numerical sense. I'm really bad with explaining. Our next series is JoJo. Now JoJo, I've played a couple of JoJo games in the past. I don't need to take as long with playing JoJo games since I've already played like a lot of them. I'm actually really excited to play JoJo because JoJo is just really fun. But if you can tell, this is unscripted, by the way. I'm actually having high expectations for JoJo. I'm assuming it at the very least take the slot of the best game with like a numerical sense so far because of the games like All-Star Battle, Eyes of Heaven, and Inheritance for the Future. So I'm actually really excited to play the JoJo franchise.